And here we have it, folks. The great counterpart to Shah, aka Merric. Let's go.
Let the lesson begin.
What's up, guys? Akariss here, bringing you another Fire Emblem Heroes video. Today's video is going to talk about Resplendent Sonya. So, I honestly didn't expect this so soon, considering we just got Resplendent Merric. So there's a little like role overlap here, and if they're trying to really sell like Resplendence, then you're going to want a bit more variety. And I think we just had Merric and Amelia too, so it's like, sorry, Raven and Amelia. So it's like all these greens being thrown at us, which is a bit odd. But regardless, I guess unit viability or, variety isn't really the name of the game with Resplendence, so whatever. But yeah, there's still plenty to talk about here with Resplendent Sonya, and I'll definitely encourage you to watch throughout the whole video, even if you have Resplendent Merric, and even if you invested into Merric. There is still something that's pretty important to talk about with Sonya. Now, this is a good, there's a lot of overlap between the points I'm going to make here and the previous Resplendent Merric video that I made, so be sure to go watch that either before or after, doesn't really matter, just to kind of review everything I mentioned for Merric and why he's a bit different than Sonya, because they are actually quite a bit different. And I'll definitely talk about, Sonya's pros and cons, and especially in comparison to him, because that is going to have to be made throughout this video. So yeah, if you want to take a moment, guys, and you really enjoy the content, give it a thumbs up, smash the like button, sub if you haven't already. Also, I have social media, Instagram, and if you love this content a lot, you want to see it coming, Patreon is a great place to support the channel. Thank you, guys. All right, so quick overview of Sonya and her Resplendent. So she comes with the Hell outfit. I personally think that's fitting. She did have like a dark past or something like that in Valencia, but I'm not going to fully spoil anything like that. However, she is, in my opinion, a very well-written character, and therefore I actually like Sonya quite a bit as a character compared to, in my opinion, of course, compared to certain other Fire Emblem characters, which I won't name for now. But yeah, she's actually a pretty good character. I think the outfit fits her well, and honestly, it's a good upgrade for her to bring her stats more in line with recent metagame. She is going to be compared quite a bit to Merric, and I am definitely going to talk about that here because they do share a weapon at the end of the day, and she is a 5-star exclusive. So that's probably where we're going to begin today. So, her stat spread and what I think of her overall, guys. So first of all, she is 35-33, and that might look pretty like whatever from a stat spread, but you got to realize that both her and Merric have Dark Excalibur, which is like shown below, and that weapon is just insanely good for a lot of content. Like special acceleration in general doesn't really need to be super promoted by me. It's always good to have special acceleration in almost every case, and the characters that have it are generally very strong. So Resplendent brings her to 35 attack, but that is actually pretty good because if you think about Merric, actually, he doesn't reach that as easily. He definitely needs like a lot more merges and flowers to even reach that attack stat. And Sonya begins at that before an attack IV and obviously merges and investment. However, that's where things get a little bit oof. So they are still in the same total amount of stats distributed between them, which does mean that she is more offensive than Merric and can run some of the more like big nuker builds better than him, but she is far more frail and therefore is going to have less build flexibility, and she doesn't have access to Excalibur, which is that slaying tome with flying effectiveness. And in my opinion, that's still a very good tome to use. So less build flexibility, definitely bigger nuke. And unfortunately, she is 5-star exclusive, 4-star special, I guess, and that kind of sucks because she is going to be harder to merge. I expect most people probably have her at like a 1-off, +1, or potentially up to like +3. That's probably what I guess for most people, depending on how long you've been playing, or maybe you just really like Sonya and merged her up. If you have, she's not a bad unit by any means on defense, or on offense or PvE, of course, because like having that offensive stat spread, which we'll get into, is pretty important. Now, in how I feel about just Sonya and Merric in general, being green is very good in the current metagame because generally speaking, there isn't that many viable red tanks. Like they're not as strong as some of the blue and green tanks, in my opinion. The only like standout, super good red tank is basically Winter Altina. And I have talked about her extensively in previous videos, but she is still fairly rare. I don't see her as often as I do, let's say, Brave Hector, Fallen Edelgard, or Brave Edelgard, Fallen Edelgard, Vector, and like Bike. Like those are just like blue and green you're gonna see all over the place. So green is generally pretty good because you have advantage or neutral against, and you don't have to worry about disadvantage as much. Yes, Winter Altina will give her trouble, but generally she's gonna do pretty well against everything else. So let's talk builds here. First of all, similar to what I covered in the Merric video, she's gonna be able to run the whole AoE build on defense with Dark Excalibur, times pulse or just infantry pulse acceleration just to pump her up is a good idea. Now keep in mind having that low HP compared to Merric could actually be an advantage because that puts her lower in the totem pole for receiving infantry pulse, which could be, like I said, quite an advantage compared to, let's say, Merric, who's pretty high up there and might be infantry pulsing other units. Generally speaking, it's a different type of design, and yeah, I mean, you can do it this way. However, if you look at this, that's like 10 defense before any mythic blessings, so she's gonna die pretty easily, and from, like, in my opinion, like, just merging up Merric to, like, plus 10 is going to be fairly comparable. He's going to have less attack for sure, but he makes up for it with so much more bulk that he's going to be surviving things that, like, Sonya wouldn't have any chance surviving, and she's going to die much, much, much easier if the opponent gets a chance to hit her on the player phase. So I like the nuke. It does sim really well. She basically kills many tanks pretty easily, but unfortunately, the bulk is going to hold her back quite a bit on defense. It does help a lot, like the Resplendent stats, it does help a lot, of course, the merges and mythic blessings, but at the end of the day, I think I would give Merric just a slight advantage just based on availability, despite Sonya having that better nuke potential, slightly. But that's not all, of course. I'm not going to completely dismiss Sonya here, and that's because because of her higher attack stat, she can run slightly different builds that more or less scale off of attack, such as like a Dragon Fang build, or just being able to run like Wind Sweep maybe, instead of low speed res, just like working on her attack and speed, focusing in on her strengths and making that work is something that Sonya can definitely do. As I said, I'm working with like a +3 here because I feel like most people are going to have around that range of merges, but if you have more, it's better. If you have less, it can still work, but Merric might be your better option in that scenario. Finally, one thing that I think she might do a bit better than Merric is honestly an air offense build with AoE. So the reason I think she does this better is because like literally every point of attack matters when you're playing an offense, and you're going to run into these like super bulky defensive save units who basically stack defensive stats like crazy, and Merric is more likely to miss the kills on those sort of units, whereas Sonya will more likely secure them, and that is a difference that is definitely worth considering. In Astra, I feel like Sonya and Merric, of course, work better because of the color coverage. There's no green mythic, so Sonya complements your teams naturally well there. Regan is great, good synergy with that, Plumeria, and Naga to help Divine Fang set up for getting those kills. So generally speaking, if you're going to use Sonya, I feel like offense or defense, she's going to do a fine job. And this particular build here, you can literally just like run it on PvE as well. Consider using Flashing Blade as well, or potentially Heavy Blade. This one here just uses like a single nuke and then won't have the special ready. But if you run Flashing Blade, then it'll be ready every single combat. So it depends how you want to play it, but really aiming for that big solid hit to get through like far save is a good strategy to think about in today's game. Okay guys, so that's it. Really, this video is going to be pretty much your short and sweet version of, or like an add-on to Resplendent Merric. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Let me know what you think of Sonya in the comments below, whether you're excited for this, or if you already use Merric perhaps from previous videos. If you've been watching, then you know I'm a pretty Big supporter of Merric personally, but Sonya is not bad at all because she does have the advantage when it comes to offensiveness. Yeah, if you like the video, smash the like button, sub if you haven't already. We'll see you guys in the next one. Much love. Peace.
It's over.